What's good, everybody? My name is Corey with Hope Views, and we are here to finally have the Demon Slayer discussion. I've done a whole bunch of trying to get to a theater and watch it for the last 2 weeks, but now that I have, we get to have a full spoiler discussion about it. So sit back and let's have that talk. So subscribe to the channel and please participate in the comments because I have lots of questions. As I'm not a manga reader, I'm just a show watcher and a movie watcher, so I want to know some things if you guys know some things. Number one, did any of you show watchers have any idea that the Hashira and Rengoku specifically were such beasts when it came to fighting these demons? Because I did not. Question two, of the remaining Hashira, which one of these guys do you think has the most insane powers? To me, just because of the way the show is, I really think it's Mr. Oblivious. I forget his name, but I call him, the guy who nothing bothers him. Like, as they give him information, he just kind of, bops on a lot, about the day. That guy probably has some insane level powers and some real stupid special abilities when someone finally gets his attention. So he's the guy that I'm betting can do the most wild stuff. Question three, super important here. What are you expecting going into season 2? Because I know a synopsis was released, but moving into season 2 and past it, what do you think we're gonna get from the main character Tanjiro in Demon Slayer, season 2 moving forward? Movie time. So this is the movie discussion, right? I have to say, as a critic, a person who likes to nitpick and see the negative in things, and it's kind of what we do as critics, and it's kind of what we do as like pundits who watch and then comment on things. You have to be able to see all the the angles, the positives and the negatives. For here, this movie, Demon Slayer, the Mugen-Train, or however it is pronounced, there are no negatives. There are no negatives. The only negatives that can be had are from people who don't know the TV show or don't know the manga, or you don't know that source material or that original material. If you came in cold and watched this, you would have tons of questions. But if you watched season 1 and you enjoyed it, then you watch this movie, there's nothing you can complain about. Absolutely nothing to complain about. Now, this is not a negative, but I must admit the movie was sillier than I expected it to be at certain moments, but that is not a negative because all the comedy and all the silliness that they include in the movie is like callbacks and things that you saw in the show. So negative, not at all. A little bit, like, oh, didn't know we were going there, of course, but not a negative. Very good movie start to finish. One of the key things to stand out here before I get deep into spoilers is that this movie is so well balanced. You get enough of your side characters and you get enough of your main characters to where no one kind of steals the show and no one does too much. If you're familiar with the show, Inosuke can be his aggression and his anger, like that can be too much sometimes. You get just the right amount here. If you're a fan of the show, you know how annoying Zenitsu can be with all his whining and complaining and his shivering and his shaking and quaking about the dangers that they're in before the thunder in him takes over. You don't get much of that here. You get it just enough to remind you of who that character is, but you don't get enough to where like, man, I wish they would move past this. You don't get there here, which is a great thing. Now let's go full spoilers here. Let's talk specifically about Rengoku. Man, this bar is amazing. Something specific about the show that carried over into the movie, specifically with Rengoku here, is how each one of the Hashira, if you watch the show, each one of them have a personality that is kind of off-putting and can put you in a place where you don't necessarily know how dangerous or how lethal these characters can be because of their quirkiness of personality. When I say that, I'm talking about Rengoku in his opening. Tasty, tasty, tasty. That whole thing kind of put me in a place where I don't know exactly what we're getting from this dude. Like, I don't know, like what is he gonna come with based on what I'm seeing here. But by the time you get to the end of the movie and you're in the last 10 minutes, it's like this boy is superhuman. Like, and I was not expecting that based on all that silliness that we got with your initial introduction, because we didn't get a lot of Rengoku in the TV series. Like, he might have had a few lines and he had a little bit of camera time, but here he's in the opening and then scattered throughout, and then you get this huge moment from him in the end, and it's like, I didn't know you had it in you. So glad that you saved it for a time such as this. His abilities was basically superhuman. When you get to the end of the movie, like at that one point where like they punched through him and he was like basically going all out, like he basically went atomic. Like, he had an explosion of energy that other people could witness. Like, that's not normal. The jumping and the flying and the kicking and the super smells and the super fast movement, all that stuff can kind of be explained, but like the dispersal of energy is like, yo, he's really special. Tanjiro's never come close to any of this, which again just elevates the other characters and shows us how far Tanjiro still has to go. I loved it. I loved that last 10 minutes in that fight. The determination that comes from a face that is constantly like this is off-putting, and is very cool to see it all come together the way it came together. Probably the best thing that Rengoku did in this movie for the franchise moving forward was showing us, the audience who don't know the manga, showing us how epic the battles with Hashira involved will be moving forward. Like, knowing that there's 9 or 10 of them that all have this heightened level of ability that are like very far surpass what we've seen on the show, to see here in the movie show us like, hey, when these guys go into battle in the future, get ready for this level of action. That's impressive, man. It's a high bar, and I don't have a doubt that they'll be able to reach it, but I like that they were able to set that bar with this movie. Now, let's get into our main character of Tanjiro, whose story we've been following through the show and the movie. Here in the movie, Tanjiro was great. There were some elements of his personality that came out that I really enjoyed. For me, it's angry Tanjiro. I love to see Tanjiro get mad, and that righteous anger that's in him kind of well up and then come out in the form of what is basically trash talking. I like to see him trash talk. Specifically on top of the train when he's fighting the sleep guy, and the sleep guy kept knocking him out, and he just kept bam chopping the neck off in the dream like it was nothing. That level of determination in him, I like to see that consistently. It did kind of get out of hand, but Inosuke was able to pull him back, and I enjoyed that too, having Inosuke be useful in his mind and not just brute strength and sheer determination and aggression. Like, I liked he was able to be used in a better way there. The anger that was used on that last demon as he ran through the forest and Tanjiro was yelling out at him to get him to come back and stuff like that, to me was very well done and very well timed, because it went along with a moment that Inosuke had towards the end after Rengoku gets to give his speech. Rengoku's speech was incredibly heartwarming and touching as well. One of the lines that I take from his speech that is something that you can even use in your personal life is when he talks about doubt and telling Tanjiro, like, whenever there's doubt in your mind, like, set your heart ablaze and like get determined. And that's what I'm talking about when Tanjiro is like angry and ready to go. I love that Rengoku gave that gem to him, and hopefully he can return to it as that character continues to grow. And it was even kind of referenced when Tanjiro kind of reverted back after Rengoku passed. Tanjiro kind of got to the whiny mode, and he started to, I don't know if I can do it, I don't know. And Inosuke was right there to like boost him back up and say, hey man, like, stop that, cut that out. Like, you need to be done with that as a person, because Bug-Eye just said he believes in you, and like, that's the dude. So let's get it, let's go train. I enjoyed it. It was kind of comedic, coming out of a serious moment, but it was fine because it's in line with Inosuke, and it also kind of, I hope it galvanizes Tanjiro to where he kind of moves forward from that. So good stuff in those moments. Now let's talk about the future for those people who are not manga readers and you know all the story. For fans of the show, there is a season 2 announced, and do you have any theories? Please let me know in the comments. My theory is this. We saw in the movie how Rengoku spoke to Tanjiro, and he showed that imagery of how different skills branch from the 3 or 4 main powers, right? You know, it was like love, fire, water, those things, right? And he talked about the black sword not knowing what to master, and it's like, okay, Tanjiro already knows the 10 water-based skills, right? He also has a bit of the flame breathing stuff passed down through his father. It's like, I would imagine, or I would hope, that this is the theory. Tanjiro would master the water, then move into learning the fire, become the fire Hashira, and then continue to learn and master the 4 main arts to where he can, well, 4 or 5 main arts to where he can use all of them at his disposal, and he'll be basically the baddest man in the land. It would be very nice to see all that happen, although I know there was a synopsis given for season 2 that reads like this. The beginning of the 2nd season will see Tanjiro and his friends go to Yoshiranra, hopefully that's right, in an infamous and unscrupulous red light district in Edo, where demons, crime, and other unsavory acts are running rampant. When a number of wives go missing in the area, demon activity is suspected, and it's up to Tanjiro and his new friend with a personal connection to the mystery to get to the bottom of the issue before anyone else disappears. So, again, there's images that was put out, there was a synopsis that was put out, that we are not going to get a clear starting point. Like, it might be some time jump, it might be something that occurs between the end of the train movie and now season 2 starting. I don't know, but I hope that if the series does continue to go for season after season after season, I hope that we can see Tanjiro master water, then fire, then all the other things, and then be the ultimate one, which would, you know, I want to see him win. I want to see him do all the things. In talking about season 2, there are some thoughts that I have about when we're getting what we want. So I am in the US, for those that may or may not know. I do have some people in India. I think my boy Smasher is in India. In the US, we may have to wait a while to get the show. So I'm looking at an article here that says the 2nd season of the anime, which is Demon Slayer, is scheduled to premiere on Crunchyroll in the summer of 2021. So that brings in a lot of questions for me, because if you're an HBO Max person, they have Crunchyroll collection on HBO Max. I do not know if that means we can get new stuff on Crunchyroll when it drop. If it does, then hey, you got HBO Max, you got Demon Slayer every week when it drops every week. But if that's not the case, and you just have a few curated shows placed on Crunchyroll on HBO Max, then who knows when you're gonna get it if HBO Max is the place that you go for as your subscription service. Now, if we're following last year's format, or last run's format, there was 26 episodes of Demon Slayer, right? If things happen in a similar fashion and we get Demon Slayer on Netflix at the end or conclusion of the run, 26 episodes would mean November 2021 we might get Demon Slayer on Netflix. That's the hopeful plan, right? 26 weeks, 26 episodes. Right when that ends, it's on Netflix. That's the hopeful way. But if it's not hopeful and it follows the same format as last time, the first season ended September 28, 2019, but it didn't hit Netflix for like a year and 4 months later, 16 months. January 22nd, 2021. That would mean if the season plays out on Crunchyroll, we may not get it on Netflix until March of 2023, which would be a tragedy. Like, oh, I don't want to wait that long to see more episodes. Those are my all my thoughts and all my reading and discovery as far as the Demon Slayer content is concerned. It was a great movie. I'm probably gonna watch it again this week sometimes. If you can get to a theater to watch it, please get to a theater to watch it. It is well worth the price of admission. It's a very, very good film. If you're a fan of the series, if you're not a fan of the series, don't go and get yourself lost. This was great though. Please drop comments. Please subscribe. Enjoy yourself. Guard your heart. Come on back and see me for more videos.